My name is John Patrick. I've got a good-looking dealer with me, Ronnie. Been dealing with Harris, so you ladies might like to come up and say hello to him when you come to the casino, if you come armed with the systems I'm going to show you. What we're going to do is we're going to go over the way you're supposed to play roulette. Now, I don't give a rat's tail if you think that roulette is for sissies. It isn't. Roulette is one of the oldest gambling games and probably one of the best. I'm going to throw out the word vigorous to you. You know what vigorous is. In this game here, we're aware of the fact that the vigorous against you is 5%. That is not great from a standpoint of what vigs could be. But a lot of you people won't play craps or baccarat, and you shouldn't play blackjack because the vigorous is higher if you don't know basic strategy. So you could find yourself at this table here. If you bet the inside bets, you're fighting a vig of 5.26. If you bet the outside bets of black-red, odd-even, high-low, you're fighting a vig of 2.63, which isn't too bad. Now, we got up in the morning and we're on our way to the casino. I'm going to be talking to the ladies. Now, you guys could listen in and maybe learn something because I see you playing at the tables and you're just as stupid at roulette as you are at craps and every other game. So we'll talk to the ladies and try to bring you along based on the fact that you're going to the casino now and you're bringing $300 with you. Now, for some of you guys that bring a higher amount, or you ladies that bring a higher amount, you can adjust it in accordance to how much you bring, but we'll work it from $300. So that's the amount of money you're bringing to the tables, to the casino. Now, you're aware of the fact that you need 4 things when you gamble: bankroll, knowledge, money management, and discipline. Those 4 things are mandatory to give you even a chance of winning. You should be aware of what is called theory, logic, and trends. That's the little 3. When you walk up to a table, you're going to take a bankroll with you. Now, that bankroll is going to be broken into sessions. Now, in this case here, we had $300. You're going to break it down into 6 sessions of $50 apiece. When you walk up to the table, like suppose you come up to Ronnie's table, and you're going to buy in. You're going to put your money on the table. If you put $50 down, I'd like you to ask for 50-cent chips. Now, you're just getting your feet wet. After a while, when you buy in, you could ask for dollar chips. But in this case here, you asked Ronnie for, you put $50 down, 50-cent chips. Hey, Ron, now what you're going to do, I bought in for $50 worth of chips. Now, you've given me yellow chips. Watch what he's going to do now. He's going to take a yellow chip and place it in the rack on the side of the wheel, and he's going to indicate that these chips here are worth 50 cents. Now, Ronnie might leave the table. See, he's put a 10 in here on a yellow chip. Suppose he leaves the table. The dealer coming on knows that the person using yellow or gold chips, they are worth 50 cents, so that when you sell them back to the dealer, you're going to be paid 50 cents for every chip. Now, you can't leave the table with these chips. You've got to sell them back to the table you got them with, because at another table, somebody else might have gold chips. Once you leave the table, you're on your own as to whether you get them sold back or not, because somebody else might come in after a couple of hours, gold chips are out again. So when you leave the table, sell the chips back to the house, back to the table where you were. Okay, now, I'm going to give you a couple of systems. If you saw the basic tape we did on roulette, we talked about the action numbers. Now, I'm going to do it quick because this is a review, because I want to go into an offshoot of betting methods. This is called the action numbers. It requires 8 chips. So we're risking $4. If you walked up to a roulette table, you're aware now that if you placed a number straight up, you're going to be paid 35 to 1. If you placed the chip in between any 2 numbers on that table, you're going to get both of those numbers. It's going to pay you 17 to 1. If you place a chip out here, overlapping into the second dozen column, or so on, all the way around the table, if you put it out here, not directly on the number, but overlapping into the second dozen column, that's called a street. You get all 3 numbers in that street. It pays 11 to 1. This is called a quad bet. If you place a bet in between any 4 numbers, you get those 4 numbers. It pays 8 to 1. The only 5-number bet on the table is if you place your chip in between a 0 and 1, you're going to get 0, 00, 1, 2, 3. Now, the vigorous against you is 7.38. It's the only part of the table that has a different vig than 5.26. If you bet the 5-number bet, they're going to pay you 6 to 1. It is not a great bet, but we use it as a hedge sometimes to pick up the 0 and 00. This is a bet I want you to be aware of. It's called a double street. If you placed your chip in between 2 numbers overlapping into the dozen columns, you're going to get all 6 numbers in that double street. You see, in Atlantic City, or in any of the casinos that have high minimums, you're going to have to play within the confines of your bankroll. At this particular table, they've got a sign there that says minimum bets inside $3. That means if you bet inside and you bought in for 50-cent chips, you must bet at least 6 chips to reach the minimum. If you bet outside, you have to have at least $3 in action. Sometimes you find a table that's $3 inside, $5 outside. But for this case here, we're at a $3 table. You've bought in for 50-cent chips. So you must bet at least $3 on every spin of the wheel. Now, if you sit at the table, you have to bet every spin. You get a dealer here that'll let you go a couple of times. I mean, you pass by it, Ron. You know, he knows that, I mean, you can't sit in there hour after hour after hour, and they'll let it go. But logically, you are supposed to bet every spin of the wheel. If you are going to bet the outside bets, you could stand behind the table, and as long as you don't touch anybody when you reach over to make your bet, they'll allow it. But you can't go bang on somebody's shoulder or climb on somebody's hat to make a bet out here. So let's assume you're sitting down, you've got 50-cent chips, you're going to play the action numbers. You know that these 3 chips go in between the 10 and the 13. These 3 chips go in between the 28 and the 31. This chip here goes in between 17, 18, 20, and 21. What we've done now, by taking these 6, 12, 16 numbers, we have cut that wheel down. We've reduced the chances of that ball finding a place to land. If you were to look at the wheel, these numbers, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and so on, are spread around that wheel. No matter where the ball lands, it's going to be on one of those numbers or no more than 1 click away on either side, on one side of that where the ball lands. Now, after a win, let's assume now 10 comes in. You would lose these 4 chips. Ronnie would pay you $15. You now have a profit of 11 chips. I want you to bet in what is called up and pull. On the next spin of the wheel, you would increase the grouping that come up by 1 chip. You would go back to bet 3 chips here, 1 chip in here. Now there are different theories, part of the little 3, theory, logic, and trends. There are different theories as to how you would bet. Somebody else might say, well, I don't want to go up to 4 chips here. I want to go up to 5 chips here, 1 chip here, 1 chip here, and take back the profit. It doesn't matter. You have to predetermine the betting scheme and what you're going to use. You're going to go up with your bet, and you're going to pull back a profit. All the way back 5 minutes ago, we talked about theory, logic, and trends. So when you're in a trend, I am going to increase the grouping that come in to take advantage of those trends. Basically, I'm betting 3, 3, and 1. Now, you could also take a chip right now, take an insurance bet, and put it in between the 1 and the 4 overlapping in the first dozen column. You've picked up 6 more numbers. After a win, I'd like you to increase the grouping that come up by 1 chip. Now, as an offshoot to that, suppose you woke up with a higher bankroll. Instead of laying out 3, 3, 1, 1, you would lay out 4, 4, 2, and 2. What you've done now is increase the amount of your outlay. Now, after a win, let's suppose now we would lose 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ronnie's going to pay you for the win here, number 11 come in, for instance. You're going to be paid 20 chips. Okay, 11 come in. Ronnie's going to pay you, what do we got? 20 chips. Okay, pay me the 20, Ron. Okay, now here's my profit of 20 minus what I lost, which is 8. We've got a profit of 12 chips. That means we have 12 chips by which to manipulate or maneuver our next move. What I'm going to do is incorporate what is called the regression system. Since we won on a 4-unit grouping, I would now take back and go down to 3, 3, 1, and 1. Now what's happened now, we won at the 4-unit bet, and now we regress each bet down to 3, 3, 1, and 1. If we win on the next spin, Ron, spin it just once now, just to see what happens. Okay, what we're looking for now is a trend to occur. We have regressed our bet after a win. Even if we lose, we've got our profit of 8 chips for that particular spin because we did not reinvest all of the money back again that we won in the first spin. 9 come in. We lose. Ronnie's going to take those chips. That series is over. But by the fact that we regressed our bet down, we're going to go back again and now go up to 4, only because we're using what is called a regression system on the first spin. Go ahead, Ron, spin again. Okay, what we're looking for now is a streak to develop. If I lose on this one here, remember we're using 4 as our increment. If I lose at 4, I'm going to come back and bet 4 on the key ones. If we lose, we're going to go to 3. If we lose again, we're going to go to 3. If we lose then, we're going to leave the table. 4 losses in a row at the roulette table and you leave. What do we bang out? Okay, 29. He's going to take those chips we lost. He's going to pay us $20. We immediately go into the regression system. We get down to 3 chips here. By the way, see how I broke the rule? We cannot touch our chips until after the dealer removes the marker. See how I broke the rules? They can tell you once, don't do it. The second time, they can tell you're a dork. We bet 4 and we won. Spin again, Ron. Now we regress down to 1. You notice we bet the same numbers. We're using the regression system. If we lose here, we go back again and start at 4. So we go 4, 4, 3, and 3. If we lose on that fourth one, we're going to leave the table. Let's assume we're going to win now. We're going to go up and pull as we keep winning. 23. Don't kill it. You know, I want to go over one quick thing. We shot a tape here, a couple of months ago, on basic roulette. There was a young girl, Lori, dealing for us. And while we were showing the system, the numbers didn't come out. I mean, didn't come out all the time, you know, maybe 50% of the time. And after the taping was over, Lori said to me, gee, don't you want to do it over again to make it look like the numbers come out all the time? Let me explain something to you people who are novices when it comes to gambling. Every system doesn't work all the time. We're not going to set this wheel to make it look like these systems come in. If you don't like the fact that you're going to lose sometime, you shouldn't be gambling. But if we were to come up here and tell you we've got a system that's going to, you know, break Fort Knox, we'd be nuts. Don't think that because this number didn't come up there, you're throwing rocks at the television set or the videotape. It doesn't happen all the time. All we're giving you is a disciplined approach. In this case here, we would have lost and went back again. But we didn't lose for that series because we had an 8-chip profit. Look what happened. Let's suppose, hey Ron, can I cheat and say that these? Let's assume that 29 come in. Now what's happened, Ronnie's going to take these chips here and he's going to pay me 15 chips. Now I've got this locked up profit for this particular series already locked up. Now what I'm going to do, and I want you to remember this term, I'm going to go up and pull based on the fact that I've won again. Now I'm going to become more aggressive. Spin her again, Ron. I'm going up to 5, 5, 2, and 2. And again, I started making my bets before the market came off. Again, I know. I'm halfway out the door. Okay, now what we've done now since we've locked up that profit, we're going up with our bets in a more aggressive fashion. But even if we lose, we can't get hurt. The 29 come in. We lose these chips here, and we win 25 over here. Now we're on a roll. You notice what we're doing? We're getting hotter on this particular streak. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to reinvest X number of chips. I'm going to go up to 7 chips here. Going to go up to 7 chips on a 10 to the 13, 3 chips here, and 3 chips over here on 1-4, and this goes back to my profit for this particular series. Notice how, do you ever see a bully, bang again, Ron, do you ever see a bully in school? He goes after the kids that are afraid of him. When a kid is down, he's going after him. This is what we're doing in the casino. We're on a hot streak. The casino's losing, we're going after them. We're going tougher and tougher as we get hotter and hotter. 32 wins again. Okay, we lose this, and we go up here. Now I would go up on the next bet. What do we win, Ron? 7. 35, we won $35, 35 chips. Now watch what we've done now. We're going up more aggressively. I've gone up 2 units and 2 units. Now I'm going up 3 at a time. I'm up to 10, bang it one more time. 10, 10, 4, and 4. And again, I didn't wait until the marker was gone. See what's happening? This is called money management. I don't want to lose. I do not want to lose on the next spin, but even if I do, I've got my profit locked up for me because we're working in what is called up and pull. 0-0, we lose everything. That series is over. Now, even though we lost on the next series, we'd go all the way back again and go down to our basic 4, 4, 2, and 2. Let me explain something to you about when we walked up to that table and we bought in. When we went up and bought in, we had session money. We had $50. I want you to set what is called a win goal and a loss limit. Now, we bought in for $50. We got 100 chips. If you lose 50% of what you bought in with, you must leave that table. That's your loss limit. If you win, in this case here, we would set a limit of win goal of 20%. Suppose we won 20 chips. Now, in that particular last series of numbers where we were winning, we won at least 20. Now, our goal has been reached for that table. What I want you to do is take back the amount of money that you started with. Here's the amount of money we started that table with. Here's the amount we started with. That was our session money. We're going to put that to the side. We're going to take our win goal. We're going to break it in half because we reached our goal. We're going to take 1/2 of it and put it in with our session money. It's called our guarantee. When we leave that table, we're guaranteed to bring a profit with us. This is called our excess. We're going to play with that excess as long as it stays alive. If this starts to go, grab what you can and put it with the guarantee, and you've got your profit for that session. If the amount of the profit at that session is what you set as a goal for the whole day, you do not go to session number 2 or 3. Now, suppose we're playing with this excess. On the next series, suppose we win, give me 10 chips, Ron. Suppose on the next series we win 10 chips. Thank you. Now what we're going to do with this profit here, 5 goes with the excess, 5 goes with the guarantee. Now we win 8 chips. 4 goes here, 4 goes here. You notice what we're doing? We're increasing the amount of the guarantee, we're increasing the amount of the excess. Now most of you people that saw the first tape or read the books know what the action numbers are. 10 to 13, 28 to 31, the insurance bet, and the quad bet of 17, 18, 20, and 21. I'm going to give you an offshoot. This is called sequence number 2. Now, it is the same theory, but there's a different set of numbers. What you're going to do in this instance, you're going to place 3 chips in between the 4 and 7 and pick up the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You're going to place 3 chips in between 31 and 34 overlapping into the third dozen column. You're going to pick up 31 through 36. You're going to place 1 chip in between 10, 11, 13, and 14 and pick up these 4, 10, 11, 13, and 14. And you're going to place 1 chip in between 0, 00. What you've done now, bang me one number out, Ron. What we've done now, we have changed what is called the action numbers, called sequence 2. It doesn't mean that these numbers will come in better than the other group. Doesn't mean that the other group will come in better. It is just another offshoot. It gives you a different set. But just because you got all this blanks in here, it's still the same theory. The numbers are spread evenly around that wheel. What do we get? 19. Now we lost on that one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay at 3, 3, 1, and 1. Bang her again, Ron. Now, what I'm trying to do is there are different people who have different theories or maybe lucky numbers that weren't in the grouping that I gave them. You know, people write to me and they say, hey, you didn't include my lucky number in your grouping. I didn't know that. If I had to satisfy every person, I'd have to have 463,000 systems. What I'm trying to do is give you systems where those numbers are spread evenly around that wheel. 2 come in. We've lost. That's 2 in a row we have lost. Let's assume we go back again. One more on. Now we got 3, 3, 1, and 1. 3, 3, 1, and 1. Remember now, we're in a cold streak now. I would wait no more than 2 more spins. If we lose on this next spin, this is a cold table. Incidentally, before you walk up to a table, you're supposed to chart it. Charting the table is looking to see what numbers are coming in before you buy in. What do we get? 25. We have lost 3 times in a row on this particular system. By the way, I want to tell you that if we were playing the other set of action numbers, we'd have only won on 1, the insurance bet in between 1 and 6. So that table has now become cold for us. There's nothing wrong, but it's going to take a lot of intestinal fortitude on your part to take your chips, push them back to the dealer, and say, cash me out. That takes nerve. Most of you say, oh, geez, I'm afraid if I leave the table, the dealer's going to look at me and think I'm a cheapskate. You're not down here to satisfy the dealer or the casino or the house or anybody else except yourself. Don't be afraid of getting away from a cold table. If you predetermine to bet the action numbers, you have to chart that table to make sure that those action numbers are coming in. Use the win goals, the loss limits, be on top of every single move. The reason I'd like to see you use 50-cent chips because you have more flexibility with your betting. Okay? Grasp this for 1 second. When I come back, I want to go over another system. Okay? You know, in gambling, knowing the game doesn't mean diddly beans. I know approximately 200 systems on roulette. There are over 3 million combinations of bets that you can make at a roulette table. In other words, you could bet a number straight up, or you could bet these 2 straight up, or you could bet these 2 and this, you could bet these 3 and black. There are over 3 million combinations. Doesn't matter how many systems you use, only the fact that you have a disciplined approach to the games. So when I give you systems, whether you're going to win or lose on those systems is based on how you manage your money. The next system I'm going to give you is called the 31 system. Now a lot of you heard about the 31 system. The theory behind it on the 31 system is that you would win 2 in a row. Now the 31 system is played on the outside bets of black, red, odd, even, or high-low. Doesn't matter what you pick. We're going to be going over a system later on called following the trend. But for this time now, I want you to talk about the 31 system from a standpoint of how you're going to bet. Learn the theory is that you're looking for 2 hits in a row. Here's how you would bet it. You would lay out your chips in such a way: 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 4, 4, and 8, 8. I'm not as quick as Ronnie. been a long time since I stood behind on the other side of the table. What we've done now, we've set our chips up in methods that we're going to bet. We're saying that in the next, you might as well spin it, Ron. What we're doing is we're going to pick black now. For instance, black is our dominant. Now I've charted the table and I've made sure that black is coming in. I've walked up to the table armed with what is called a 31 system. I'm going to bet black. The theory is that I want to win twice in a row and make up everything we've lost before. Now watch how it works. 21 come in, red. I'm going to lose. Now, that series has started. Suppose on the next series I lose. I bet one chip again. If I lose again, I've lost 3 times in a row. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put 2 chips on black. Let's assume black comes in. Ronnie's going to pay me 2 chips. Pay me 2, Ron. Ron, yeah. Okay, I won 2 chips. The theory being that you have to win 2 times in a row. Let's assume now black came in. Now Ryan's going to pay me 4. Black did come in, 29. But let's suppose it came in now. Now that series is over. Remember what we lost. We lost 1, 2, 3, and the 2 chips we laid out. We risked 5 chips. Here's what we've got. There's the 3 we lost. There's the 3, 4, 5, and we've got a profit of 3 chips because 2 happenings occurred. Now we go all the way back again and you start the 31 system all over again. Theory being that you are looking for 2 hits in a row on either one of these levels. What you could do, let's assume now you lost 1, lost 1, lost 1. Now suppose we won at this level and let it all ride, and we lost. That means that is a loss per se, and we're down 2 chips. We move over to the next level, and we lose 2 chips. We go to the next level, and we win. Now watch this, this is very important. Ron is going to pay me 4 chips. Now, what you could do, now watch the 2 options that you have here, it's very important. If you let it all ride, and he pays us 8 chips, we're going to take the 8 chips we won. Now here's what we've lost, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the 4 we laid out. We're out 11 chips. Here's the 11 chips, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and we've got a 1 chip profit. You do not have to let the second, beg your pardon, you do not have to let the first bet at each level be a repeat. Here's what you could have done. We lost at 1, we lost at 1, we lost at 1, we lost at 2, we lost at 2, we won at 4. Okay, pay me on that one, Ron. Now what Ronnie's going to do is he's going to pay me the 4 here. So we're not out these 4. I've still got these 4 here. Here's my profit, the 4 here. I'm only going to bet 4 again. If I win, pay me the 4, Ron. There's a 4 I bet. This 4 profit picks up the 3 I lost and gives me a profit of 1. In the 31 system, when you come to level 2, 3, or 4, the first bet at level 2, which is 2 chips, doesn't have to let it ride twice. You could just take your profit and let the same 2 ride again. If you reach level 4, you don't have to let it ride twice. You could take your profit on the first one and rebet 4. And when you get to 8, the same thing. And this is why I do that. A lot of you might think you're big shots. You tip your paper boy 50 cents on Sunday and you think you're a big wheeler. You walk into the casino and you don't have the guts to bet this kind of money. You don't want to have 16 chips laying out there. So I'm giving you the option as to how you can, instead of letting it all ride, just let the second level bet ride. That's called a 31 system. And the idea being that in one out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you will get 2 hits in a row. You can pick anything you want on the outside using the 31 system. It is not a bad system. I'm going to compare it to what is called a martingale. Every week somebody calls me on the phone and said, I've invented the greatest system since the wheel. You bet 1 chip and you lose. You bet 2, you lose. You bet 4, you lose. You bet 8, you lose. You bet 16, 32, 64, 132. You just keep doubling your bet because eventually you're supposed to win. Just hit 1 long losing streak, and we'll see how often you'll play that system. It's called a martingale system, the theory being that you double your bet after a loss due to the fact that you're due to win. If you double a martingale system 9 times, you would lay out 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, and so on. If you played the 31 system looking for 2 hits in a row, the difference being you need 2 in a row, but your total outlay is only 31 chips. In comparison to the martingale, the 31 is not that bad a system. When I come back, I'm going to give you another system. Now get a piece of paper and a pencil. Remember, this one is 111, 22, 44, 88. You know, I want to give you an offshoot of the 31 system. There's a fellow that I got to know during the course of the last 6 years in the school, and he came up with what is called a Z system. Now the Z method is for you people, even though you're afraid to admit it, laying out 31 chips is just a little bit too heavy for you. You can't do it. So what I've done now is I've broken it down. We call this a Z method. This is what this is based on. Still based on the theory of the 31, your chip outlay would be 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you're only risking 19 chips. This way here, it alleviates the fact that you have to put out 31 chips on a bad streak. So you would still go after a loss, come back to the next one, then 2 if you lost. If you won here on the 2, get paid and let it ride twice. The idea being the total number of outlay is only 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you are very, very scared, you could play 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, and 3, and that's it. Now, just to try this method, pick your black color, bet your first bet would be 1 chip. If you lost 1, if you lost 1, then 2, then 2, then 3, that's it. At that particular table, you've only risked 10 units. You're giving yourself 6 chances to come up with 2 wins in a row. Now the odds against 2 happenings in a row occurring is 3 to 1. We're giving you 6 chances. It's not the greatest system ever invented, but it's not a bad one for you people who are just getting your feet wet in the roulette. Okay? Try that system. Think you like it. You know, so many people ask me, should I bet the columns? Should I bet the dozens? These are these bets out here where you would bet that the first dozen would come up or the column would come up. You know, I am not an advocate of betting the columns. So many people say, but you got to give me something for it. I want you to listen to what I'm saying on the column. Many people play the columns or the dozens, Ron? Yeah. They do play it. But do you see any pattern to the way they're playing? No. See, you see what Ronnie said? There's no pattern. So if you're going to play the dozens or the columns, you've got to have a system. Like Ronnie could stand here all day and see a guy bet this one here, and for no reason bet this one, and then bet this one down here. There's got to be a pattern for it. If you were going to bet it, this is the pattern that I would use. Let's assume now we've got a $5 minimum out here. Since I believe in a regression system, which I talked about before, my first bet would be 6 chips. And how I would work it is this. What was the last number, Ron? We had 29. Okay, 29 was our last number. Now, I'm going to call this 1, 2, and 3. If 29 came in number 3, my next bet would be on number 3, the third dozen, and on the first dozen. What I'm doing is going here and here. If this one come up, I bet the second and the third. If a number in here come up 5, spin the wheel once, Ron, we'll get an idea. Okay, now I'm betting on the third and the first column. What I've done is I've bet the regression system on both. I'm looking for one of these 2, I beg your pardon, I said columns, one of these 2 dozens to come in. There's a money management method because it's the regression system. Okay, 26 come in. Ronnie's going to take those 6 chips and he's going to pay me 2 to 1 over here. Now, I've won 12 chips. I am going, 29 come in again, so my next bet would be 3 and 1. What I'm going to do is take back there's the $6. I'm going to take back the 12 I won, regress this bet down to 5, and go up with 6 bets over here. This is my profit. You see what I'm doing? I am increasing the amount of my bet, one more spin, Ron, and I'm still following 3 and 1 because 3 came up. But I use the regression system to get this one into a streak. If it hits again, I'm now going to go up and pull back a profit. You can use the same theory on the columns. I'll go over 1 or 2 spins with that. But this is how, the only way you could really play the dozens. 16. We lose both of those bets. My next bet, we didn't get creamed on it. My next bet would be 6 chips. One more spin, Ron. 6 chips on the second dozen, 6 chips on the third dozen. See what I'm following now? 2 and 3. But there's a pattern to it. I can't, people come and say, tell me what number is going to come in. How the hell do I know what number is going to come in? Ronnie spins here all day long. You don't think he can tell you what number is going to come in? It's all based on patterns and trends. This one came in. We have lost both of these. My next spin would be on 1 and 2. One more, Ron. You know, you people are watching us do this. When Ronnie spins that wheel, we could come out and tell you any one of these numbers come in. That's not what we're here for, to let you know that, oh man, you'd be jumping in the car and flying down to the casinos. That's not the purpose of what this tape's about. 8. Okay, we won. I'll do it just one more time. Ronnie's going to pay me 2 to 1. I'm going to regress my bet down to 5 on the one that come in, bet $6 on the second dozen, and pull back this profit. What I'm looking for is one of these two to come in. We're only in trouble with this group and the 0, double 0. 14 come in. Now, I lost this one, but I've won 12 chips. This one here, since this is our first hit on this column, I'm going to regress down to 5, go to 6 chips on the third one, and take back my profit here. Just one more spin. One more time, we'll try it. Now, we want one of these 2 dozens to come in. We're in a hot streak. We can't lose for this particular series. What we don't want is this one to come in, but we only based our bet on what follows on the second dozen. We're done for that series. This is our profit for that series. Series is over. If you were going to play, do one more spin, Ron, on the, what came in, 4? Okay, 4 came in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bet $6 on the first column, because 4 came in. I'm going to bet $6 on the column following it. I'm following a number in the column that it's in. I'm looking for one of these 2 columns to come in. This is our dog in here. 32 come in. We're going to lose the first one, get paid 2 to 1 here. Regress down to 5, start at $6 here, and come back and win in a series. And I'll bet these 2. All right, you get an idea of how you're going to follow a pattern on these bets here. The next system I want to show you requires a pad and a pencil. We're doing a system called a Labouchere system. Now this system is utilized on the outside bets of black, red, odd, even, high, low. What it entails is looking for a streak, which is just what every part of gambling is. In every game you play, you're looking for a streak or a trend. Now you got to know how to take care of it. What this calls for is for you to take a piece of paper and a pencil. Now what we're going to do is we're going to write a line down. We're going to bet in increments based on the fact that we're looking for this streak. Let's suppose we write 1, 1, and 1 down. What we're going to do is we are going to bet the total amount of the back end and the front end. When you lose, you're going to add the amount that we lost to the back end of the column. Like suppose we were betting black. Let's assume red comes in. Oh, beg your pardon. We got $5 chips now, $5 increments. You can utilize the system I'm talking about and base your own money management method after you start at the $5 units. You could buy in off amounts and use $6 chips, $7, so on. I mean, a $5 chip with 2 whites to make it a $6 bet or $7, $8. But I'm going to be talking only in increments of $5 bets. Now, we've written 1, 1, and 1 down. We are now going to bet 2 chips on black. Let's assume black loses. We lose these 2 chips. We are going to write the number 2 on our line. We are now going to bet the total of 2 and 1, which is 3 chips. Suppose we lose 3 chips. We are now going to write the number 3 here, and we're going to bet the total of 3 and 1, which is 4 chips. Let's assume now we won. Ronnie's going to pay us 4 chips. What we do now is we cross off the total number of chips we won. In this case, 3 and 1. The 2 end numbers now become a 2 and a 1, and we're going to bet $3. If we lose, we would write 3 on the end and bet 4. If we win, Ronnie will pay us 3 chips. What I'm going to do is now cross off the 2 and the 1, the total of the 3 chips we won, and bet 1. If we lost, I'd put 1 on here and bet 1 and 1, 2. If we won, I'd cross off the 1 and the 1 for 2, and we have won the total amount of the initial line, which is 3. Now, there are different lines that you can make. Let's assume you started with a line of 1, 2, 3. My opinion, it's too heavy. What you've got to do here is bet 3 and 1, which is 4 chips. Suppose you lose. You have to write 4 in here and bet 5. Suppose you lose 5 chips. You've got to write 5 in here and bet 6. When you walk to a table, your bankroll is going to tell you what you're going to bet. But you're leaving yourself wide open with too many units to lay out. By playing a single line, I'd like to see you start with 3 single digits. However, you could make a line like this. It's called a triple line. You've got 1, 1, 1, 1, 2. Might as well spin it, Ron. 1, 1, 1, and 1. Okay. What we've done now, we've got three lines. We're looking for a dominant on the black. Since we have predetermined to bet black, by charting the table, we found out that black was coming in. Now, black comes in. Oops, I beg your pardon. We're betting 2 chips, 1 and 1. Ronnie pays us, and we cross off. Now, you have the option. You have the option of crossing off the 2 to get rid of the highest number we can. What I would do right now, since 2 is not so dominant so far, I would cross off 1 here and 1 here. Or I could cross off 1 here and 1 here to open up the 2. Now, on the next spin, we are going to bet 2 and 1, the total of the back end and the front end, which is 3 chips. You see what I'm doing? I'm trying to get rid of that high number as quick as I can. But I can't get caught in a long, bad series because I got so many 1s to bet. 25 comes in, which is red. We lose. Now, we lose 3 chips. Now, I will put the 3 out here. Now I'm going to bet 3 and 1, which is 4 chips on black. The total of the back and the front end. I always add in the highest amount on the back end. I want to get rid of it as quick as I can. Black comes in. Ronnie is going to pay me 4. I'm going to take back the 4. By the way, I'm going to cross off 3 and 1, 4, and I'm going to bet 1 and 1, or 1 and 2. In this case here, I'm going to bet 3, which is a total of 2 and 1. What I'm looking to do is knock this down as quick as I can, called the Labouchere system. Black came in again. I crossed off the 2 and the 1. Now it only leaves me 4 1s, and naturally my next bet would be 2 chips. Now, what we're looking for when we finish this particular line or triple line, we would have 1 1 1, 1 2 1, 1 1 1. We would win the total, in this case here, 10 units. What I'd like to see you do when you reach the increments of 5 chips, like suppose we wrote lines like this: 1 1 1, 1 2 1, 1 1 and 1. Let's suppose we ran into a losing streak. We lost at 2, we bet 3 and we lost, we bet 4 and we lost, we bet 5 and we lost. We're in a losing streak. So what I'm going to do, instead of writing a 5 up here and forcing me to bet 5 and 1, look what you could do at this point. We've got 5 units that we've got to disperse. You do not have to write the 5 as a figure on the back end of any one of these because it opens up the possibility of betting too much on the next spin. You could take the 5 and break it into 2, 2, and 1. You've opened up the chance now of betting 2 units or 3 units on the next spin. See, what you're trying to do is look for a trend, but while you're looking for that trend, you're minimizing your losses. This Labouchere system, the way I'd like to see you play it, use the triple line. Don't be afraid of walking up to the table. Hey, Ron, do you ever see people that play the Labouchere system? I haven't seen many of them play it. You know, not too many play it. You know, they're intimidated, or they're afraid to stand there and write this out. You know, in France, roulette is the second national game. Everybody plays roulette. They're not afraid of playing these Labouchere systems. It's going to require you to walk up and write out your lines just to get your feet wet. For a lot of you ladies now, you're scared to walk up to this table. If you come up to Ronnie's table and buy in, you can even say to him, this is the first time I've played. He'll help you. He'll bring you along. You're going to play this Labouchere. You can put it right in front of you. He's not going to bite you. You wait for your dominant that you predetermined to bet, and you bet accordingly. When you win, you cross off the total of your previous bet, which would be the back and front end of any line. When you lose, you add the total to the back. What I'm trying to do is get you to hold down your lines becoming so large. Now, the worst you can lose is a loss limit that you put on the amount of money that you take to the table. I'd like to see you go to a $3 table and try this. It's very easy to acclimate the $3 chips into units. You can do that, you can figure it right out for yourself, and try this. It's called the Labouchere system. It's a good way to start. The amount of lines you do is not restricted. You could go 1, I don't know who's going to sweep the floor, but you could go 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1. You see what you've done here? You've given yourself a lot of ones, so most of your bets will incorporate a 1. So when you're in a losing streak, you're betting small amounts. A long losing streak can't hurt you because when you get to the increment of 5 chips, you could space it out among the lines to bring down the amount of total outlay. That means you're going to spend a lot of time at the table. But gambling is not as easy as you think. It's a lot better than the way you play, but there are ways of playing. It's called money management. The Labouchere system, it's a good way to play. Okay? You know, I know most of the dealers in Atlantic City, in Harris. I'm in the casino 4 days a week. I make my living gambling. It's a grind. It's a rough job. Play craps, play blackjack, play roulette, play baccarat. These dealers, some of them I've got to know. They work here. They do a service for you. They are not your enemy. A lot of people ask me, well, how do I tip the dealers? There's nothing wrong with tipping the dealers. Absolutely nothing. They work for X number of dollars, and they depend on your tips to make it a decent income. And when you walk up to the table and you lose, you didn't lose because the dealer hurt you. I hear these dorks come out and say, I know what's happening. He spins that wheel a certain way, and he puts that number in there. You know, if you could ever feel that roulette ball, it has no weight. There are so many protruding pieces on that wheel. If that wheel just touches one of them, it's going to jump all over the place. So anybody that tells you that the dealer can control where that ball goes, he's crazy. There's nothing wrong with tipping a dealer. He is going to keep you alert. Let me tell you something. If you play at a table, like when Ronnie suppose I was playing a system at Ronnie's table, do you know in 3 or 4 spins he would know exactly what system I'm going to use? You'll become sleepy-eyed if you're doing the Labouchere system. You might miss a bet, or you're playing the action numbers, or the sequence 2 on the action numbers. You might miss a bet. He'll pick it up. He'll pick it up a lot quicker than you are. This is what I'd like to see you do, and I'm not here shilling for the dealers, to be honest with you. Ronnie's the first time I talked to Ronnie close up. I've seen him dealing here, but we never talked before. And he slipped me $10 to mention tipping. But other than that, though, I was going to mention it anyway, so he's out to $10. Here, now we're playing at 50-cent chips. Now we're playing the action numbers. We've got into a hot streak. We've won ourselves a couple of bucks. We've worked our way up to 5 chips here, 1 here, and 1 here. You know, if you want to make a bet for the dealers, you could take a chip, throw it across the table, and say, for the boys. Now what they'll do, Ron, show them how you handle a tip. Puts on the side of the wheel. What they'll do is they'll make good on that chip later on based on the fact that they know how much money that chip is worth. Now, I don't want you throwing the chip across the table. I don't want you. Put it in action for them. They'd like to gamble just as much as you do. If you're going to make something for the boys or for the girls, you don't have to throw the chip. I don't like to see you give it to them. I would rather see you place it off to the side. Boys play on the... Now, this isn't going to hurt you. Put a chip here and a chip here. This is for them. You would indicate it for them. Boys are playing. Now, you've got their interest. They know they don't care about these other chips on the table in comparison to these chips here because they know they've got some action going. Now, that doesn't mean you have to shovel all your chips again. I don't like the guy that walks in here and plays for 3 hours and he's leaving, here, $25 for the boys. Now, they might like it, but that doesn't give him a chance as a man to come back and help you. Do you see what I'm saying? So while you're playing, it doesn't hurt you. Throw a couple of chips out in action for the boys based on the system that you're using. I think it's a good idea. It won't hurt you. And you got them on your side. I think it'll help. In the long run, it will help. You know what we're going to do now? The way I like to play roulette is utilizing the outside bets. We've got black, red, odd, even, and high, low. Now, you can bet the regression system. You're aware of what the regression system is. Theory being that your first bet is higher than the minimum. Now, this table here, we're at a $5 table. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That means we must bet at least $5 on the outside. I want you to bet, let's suppose these are dollar chips now. I want you to bet on the first spin, $6 or $7 or $8 or $9 or $10. What you're doing, you're betting higher than the minimum so that after a win, you would regress back down and lock up a profit. Here's what it is. You walked up to this table, the minimum was $5. Your first bet is $8. Let's assume we won at the $8. Ronnie would pay us $8. We take back the $8 we won. We regress our bet down to $5, which is a minimum. And even if we lost that next spin, we've got a profit of 3 chips. The regression system locks up a profit. Now, you don't have to bet in increments of $5. Suppose we were at a $5 table. These were $5 chips. If you bet $10, took back the 10 and regressed down to 5, on the next win, you have no variations of betting. You have no off amounts. When you bet the outside bets using a regression system, I'd like to see your chips be dollar chips. In this case here, we've got 7 chips. Now, we win. Take back the 7, regress down to 5. On the next spin, we win. I want you to go up and pull. It's called up and pull. Go up to $8 and pull back 2. We win at $8. Go up to 10 and pull back the difference. You see the flexibility? Even if we lose here, this is our profit. This is what we started with. The idea being that your first bet is higher than the minimum so you can regress down. Okay, now we've walked up to this table and we charted it. What you do, you set aside the dominant that you want to come in. It could be low, which is 1 to 18, high, which is 19 to 36, even or odd, black or red. Okay? I might as well spin it, Ron. What I've done now is I've picked black as my dominant. Now you can have 2 dominants or you can have 3. I'm going to start you off with a 1 dominant. The dominant is black. You could have, if you wanted to, wait for black to come in and then bet black. Or you could go right up to the table and bet black. Okay, so I'm betting $8 on black. Black come in. You pay me $8. I'm going to take back the 8 and regress down to 5. Now I'm into a streak. I can't lose for this series. On the next spin, I'm going to bet 5. I've regressed down. I would like to win. But even if I don't, that series is a profit. Now, you've heard me tell this before, but the money management part of gambling is so important, it doesn't hurt you to listen for 3 or 4 more seconds. Now we're using, right here, is a single dominant. Remember that. 19 red come in. We lost that $5. There's the 8 we started with, and there's a $3 profit. Now, let's suppose you use a single dominant. I told you have 2 ways of doing it. Picking the dominant, charting the table, and using that same dominant every single roll. Or you could do what is called follow the dominant. You pick black. You would wait for black to come in. In this case here, suppose 24 come in, black. You would then bet the $8 on black. If it came in, I beg your pardon, black came in, 24. Now you would make your bet after it came in. When you reach a profit of $50 with a single dominant, then you could start on dominant number 2. Suppose we pick low. Now when I play roulette, which is just about every day, I pick 2 dominants. Dominant is black, dominant is low. I walk into the table, into the casino, and I'm looking for a table that is showing a predominance of low and or black. They're the 2 I'm looking for. I might go to 3 or 4 tables, charting the tables, till I find what I'm looking for. Let's suppose now I found a table where black and low are coming in. My first bet is going to be $8 black and $8 low. Now look at what this has done. By betting low, we have covered the first 18 numbers on this board, leaving the second 18 open. But by betting black, I have picked up 1/2 of the numbers which we already have covered in the first 18, and I've picked up 9 more numbers of the 18 that isn't covered on the top half of the board. What I've done now is reduce my chances down to where the only numbers that's going to beat me is the high reds. What do we get, Ron?
36.
Okay, 36 came in. We lose both black and low. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back and bet black and low again. If I were betting follow the dominant, I would have waited, but we don't have the time on the tape here. When 36 came up at that table, I would not have bet on the next spin because 36 is neither black nor is it low. But for the purpose of trying to get through this system, we're betting every spin. I'm going back again to black and back again to low. 8 is black and 8 is low. Ronnie's going to pay me on both low and black. I'm going to take back what I won, regress down. I'm going to take back what I won and regress down. One more spin, Ron. But you know, my chances of winning is very good playing this system due to the fact I've eliminated a lot of numbers using 2 dominants. Last spin. After that, we reach a $50 profit, I'm going to look to pick up a third dominant. 11 is black and low. We just happen to be in a streak right now. He's going to pay me on black, and he's going to play me on low. Now I'm going to revert to the main thing I told you about, up and pull. We're going to go up here, pull back a profit. Up here, and pull back a profit. Now suppose we catch in this hot streak. We're going to pick up a third dominant. We have won X number of dollars at that table. We have broken our goal in half. Half goes in our pocket along with our session money called our guarantee. This other excess has now worked its way up. My third dominant is going to be even. Now what I've done now, I've got black, even, and low. The low covers the first 18 numbers. The black cuts into half of the top ones, half of the bottom, and the even now picks up 1/2 of the numbers that we haven't got covered on the first two dominants. The only thing that's open for me is 19, 21, 23, 25, and 27. That's all that could kill me. I haven't looked at the wheel yet, but if it's one of these 5 systems, I'm going to shut the tape right off. What do we get, Ron? We got 8. What's happened now, I've won at the black, and the even, and the low. I don't think that this is going to happen all the time. It's not going to happen as powerful as it's coming out. On the same vein, your chances of you getting wiped out for all 3 dominants is small because I have reduced the chances of losing at that table. We are into a roll on each one of them, and each one has a, one more spin, Ron. Each one is into its own streak now. We're winning. I'm staying with it. You ever see these people at a table, and they come up and they say, well, black didn't come in for 4 spins in a row, so now I'm going to bet black. Or they could be betting black and black and black, and red comes up, black and black and black, and now they bet red because they think red is due to come up. That's a silly, illogical, stupid way of playing. Don't assume something's going to happen. Bet on the trend, the streak that's happening. 32. Okay, 32 is red and even and high. We lose the high, I beg your pardon, we lose the low, lose the black. He's going to pay us on the even. Now watch this. If you had predetermined to bet all 3 dominants only on every spin of the wheel, you'd come back again and start another series on black and low. But suppose you had predetermined that the dominants that you were going to play, in this case black, even, and low, was only going to be played after a win. On the next spin, you would not bet black because it didn't come in. You would not bet low because it didn't come in. You would bet even again. Since we've already regressed our bet, we would go up and pull back a profit and only bet on even. Just one more spin, Ron. I want you to come up with your own theory of betting, using a regression and coming up with your own off amounts. I want you to write it down on a piece of paper. When you walk up to that table, use the system that you're predetermined to play, okay? And you're going to use that money management method that we're going over here. 17, black. Now, in this case here, we lost our even, but it's black and low. Now I would start a series on black and on low. Okay? That's called following the trend by picking your dominance, charting the table, buying in. You know what we've done here? We've talked about systems playing in roulette. This is the most important part of the whole tape, or gambling for that matter. It doesn't matter how many systems you have. You could have one system, one single solitary system to play at the table. The number of money management methods that you can spin off of that system is going to make the difference in you being a winner or a loser. Just remember the basics that I talk about. You need the big 4, bankroll, knowledge, money management, discipline. You need all 4. The little 3, theory, logic, and trends. You have to set a win goal and a loss limit based off of that bankroll. This is the key, your win goal and loss limit. The win goal should be 20%, your loss limit should be 50% in roulette, 50% in craps, 40% in blackjack. You want to minimize your losses, so the systems you play, I want you to bet as small as you can in the beginning. The money management method we use is called regression system. I want you to adhere to the method of betting called up and pull. By that I mean when you win, I want you to go up with your bet and pull back a profit. This is the way you're going to play in a casino. If you have any questions, my number or my